only hope that the logical solution prevails, but
hey, they're winning.
they're 1-0 up. I was jumped in a little late, but I really wanted to go on about his map predictions, so you know he had to eat up the time. It's all right. We're coming in here for the pistol, and when ZIGMA win that, they get 4 SMGs, so I hate them. Let's move on. It's just too many.
The thing is as well, it's not even that. It's just versus TYLOO. I don't like that. Because as said, like I've said this before, I'll say it again. Your pistol round, that's the free one. The second round is where TYLOO are more scary, which is annoying because that shouldn't be the case, because pistol round should be fairly 50-50. If you win it, you should come in with a better buy. But the fact is, this team... Wait, what? Okay, manages to just do wonderful things or horrific things, depending the way you look at it, with these pistols. Now, it's not going too great. Just Cause actually going to go pushing, looking to try and battle up against Attacker, which is always a bit of a risk. And Dan King's managed to get relatively far out onto this A side. He's right on top of his opponent. Oh, that's one of the ugliest duels I think I've ever seen. But they will get the kill. And somebody, he's heard the footsteps. He's watched Just Cause run away. Oh, that is awkward again. But somehow TYLOO will come out with a man advantage. And they're actually almost killing off Just Cause as well.
Well, this has been less than pretty. But again, it is the cautionary tale that we tell every time. For ZIGMA, this kind of buy was never going to be ideal. Now, at least Rolex has caught somebody, I think, asleep. I'm not too sure. Some people can do that standing up. Rolex, he's picked up Dan King, leaving it on to just himself and Attacker. The 1v1, but he has no idea where Attacker is. Currently sat down, but oh, he's in the sandwich, and he's made a meal of this on Rolex, but he's got him! That is gorgeous work by Rolex. Attacker whiffed. He hit the 2 shots, but it was onto the body. And with that, Rolex wins the round. But Tom, as you said, that's the problem. They've gotten a bomb plant. They've got money.
Okay, what? What?
Hero rifle, right? Just one. Just one. Oh, no. Okay.
What is this?
Slowly's going full utility in a deagle. Look, it's not too bad. No one else has utility.
This is what Harry was requesting, isn't it? On Twitter, he was like, the team should just play one player just goes for a deagle. But the thing that confused me is he bought first, so I imagine that he was planning on just half buying. I don't believe that the plan initially was a full investment. I'd love to believe it, but I don't. And what? Sorry, Niffy, but what was the plan there? You know who you're playing against, right? You know that they're going to get aggressive.
I guess he just wanted to, all right, bring the confidence, right? Bring the heat from the get-go.
How's somebody already here?
And they've just ran down mid, haven't they? Because they killed Niffy, so they just barreled down the short players, distracted. They've managed to take down somebody. I mean, look, ZIGMA didn't have control over that part of the map for, what, 15 seconds, so they definitely have to be cautious of it. And as you said, you're playing versus TYLOO. Here's the steps being heard. The player spotted Rolex. He's got a quick flank.
Easy.
And, oh, he's not going to catch the kill, I don't think, till the... Okay, well,
yeah.
I thought he'd have to go all the way up behind. But he's caught Attacker. Dan King's got 14 HP, and despite a very sloppy and a very scrappy start, it will be 3-0, presumably. At which point, then, TYLOO, without a bomb plant, are not going to be able to get a decent investment, and so we should see an eco and possibly a 4-0.
Yeah. Potentially. They are going to have a high amount of loss bonus, so we may still see some pistols, and we've already seen once that can be enough.
Yes.
Dan King as well can just opt to try and make this as costly as possible. He does still have the bomb on his back, so if by some miracle he finds himself on a bomb site alone, there is potential, but he may just even opt to save the AK. It's not ideal, especially because it will likely mean that going forward, him getting an AWP is going to be that a little bit tougher. But Dan King with an AK in a round, I would still say that that's winnable for TYLOO. Now, ZIGMA have got off to a strong start. That's at least something, and I think that's incredibly important, especially on Mirage. The interesting thing for me so far is that TYLOO have shown some serious vulnerabilities on this map throughout this tournament, and they are still very, very happy to go for it. Like, they beat Checkmate, but I think we sort of admit that they won both pistols in that game, and it was still 16-10. For TYLOO, that's not clean. They lost to Huatsai. They lost to Beyond. Like, it's not been particularly good. They played Beyond again, actually, 2 days later, and only won 16-14, which, considering for years, like years and years, this has been the hometown map of TYLOO. they've definitely shown some weaknesses in this tournament. If they lose to ZIGMA, again, we say there's even a map, like, that is just shocking. Because ZIGMA, sure, they got the upset versus Beyond, but other than that, they have been one of the worst teams in this tournament. The only team that is below them is Huatsai. So that kind of says it all. But obviously, this is very, very early days, and they're not going to eco. They're going to buy.
TYLOO,
sure. But I guess, like, I know that 950 are like Tom. They've not really saved that much money, but they will have maximum loss bonus. So that is actually enough to get AKs in the next round. 450, not so much. It would be a bare AK with armor. So I guess for TYLOO, they're just trying to keep as much pressure on. And I think that is one of the only ways that ZIGMA could realistically win this map, is if TYLOO continuously just invest and think they're eventually going to steal one of these rounds. The only problem is, I also believe they will eventually steal one of these rounds. So, like, although on their part, I think it's incredibly cocky to go into a match like that, they kind of back it up most of the time.
Yeah, I mean, they are TYLOO, right? I feel like their strategy, fiscally anyways, is just bang their head against a wall and only stop when they get a concussion. It's like, yeah, it's going to hurt. You're going to end up in a worse position, but until I need to get a doctor involved, yeah, we'll just keep going with it. See if the wall breaks, and usually it does. They got some drywall, it's not concrete, and I think that's a big problem with a lot of the teams in this region. You know, they don't have that concrete foundation to them when it comes down to team play. When it comes down to even just the structure of teams, I feel like a lot of these teams could have benefited from a greater scouting process. Like, they'll have players that can step it up every now and then, but in terms of like people you look to consistently do it, Bren is a great example, right? You've got Derek. Most of the time, I'd say over half the games they play, he puts on a phenomenal performance. And I mean, like 20 plus kills, close to 30 a lot of the time. He's doing a lot of the heavy lifting. And then when you look at the rest of the team, well, Wits can do a little bit of damage. Obviously, we've seen Pro today step it up. Everyone's had their day, but it's nowhere near consistent. And you need more than just one guy who'll usually step it up, because when he doesn't, if your other players don't happen to, well, you're screwed. I think that's an issue for a lot of these teams, in that they could just use a little bit of better scouting.
The thing I'm also really interested in is coming up. Obviously, we have Nuke going into the next. The only victory that ZIGMA have is versus After. Like, to pick that map, I get that people want to put pressure on the vulnerabilities of TYLOO, and I think a lot of people are suggesting that Nuke is one of those maps, but at the same time, you can't have done that much prep versus them because they don't have that many results. So to sort of look at Nuke and go, oh yeah, we're going to break down they've played 4 maps. They won one of them 16-1, so you can't gain anything from that. They lost one to Beyond, 16-40, the other to Vici, and then they beat a team called Let's Quit. So realistically, they've lost to 2 very good Nuke teams, one of them in a relatively close fashion. The other has been their arch nemesis for the longest time in Counter-Strike. So I don't realistically think you could have looked through those demos and learned much at all about the way TYLOO plays it, and you don't play it well yourself. So I'm not comfortable with that pick. I much prefer when teams go for a map they're actually good at instead. Like, if they'd gone for an Inferno, I know that that's a very good map for their opponent, but I still would have preferred that than seeing it. They also banned out Vertigo, which has been a horrific map for TYLOO. So I think ZIGMA ultimately played this veto really badly. Fast play coming in, though. And it's going to be that aggressive push. The rotation will be here. TYLOO have taken a very long time to get anything into this round. And while Dan King is still somehow going to open this one up, Attackers found another one. These are the rounds I'm talking about, Mitch. They don't make any sense. They took so much damage. They took ages to get onto the site. Like, their opponent knew they were there for the longest time. And somehow they've still come out with it, well, 2-man, make that a 1-man advantage, and eventually the round. This is the TYLOO round that we knew was eventually going to happen. Unfortunately for ZIGMA, it happened much earlier than expected, and their money is in the bin.
Obviously, we had some tech issues there, but I wouldn't say necessarily that TYLOO benefited massively from it in the tactics department. I mean, that strategy was sort of a rush B, but without the rush part, it was a go B for sure. And they found the success with it, I suppose. I'm a big fan of Go B or Gob B.
I prefer Gobby to Gobi, especially in that round.
Yeah.
Because they got stuck by so many different names, took so much damage, and then still just get all the entries. And that's what's kind of sickening there, because you still have to look at ZIGMA there and go, you played that round badly. Like, you should have won that round. Like, you had 2 players there initially, you heard all the footsteps, you saw all the players, and then you rotated in all of your remaining players, and you still lose that round. And the fact is, if it wasn't for the fact that they were solo peeking in that 3 versus 1, or the first player fair enough was facing the wrong way, that was they entered that site only losing 2 people. Like, that's ridiculous. Like, if you basically have not quite a 5-man stack, but pretty damn close to one. Yeah, that's just poor. And this goes back to what I've mentioned many times in this tournament. I think that's now changed a little bit, but in the first week, there was not a single good B-site hold in like the whole of the tournament. I think we're about to witness another one, because that wasn't good enough.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you on that one. I mean, as well, there hadn't been too much pressure from TYLOO, right? They took that one quite slow, so there was always going to be, there should have been a fair bit of utility still there for ZIGMA to use up, but...
And they had no guns! Let's just add that in.
Yeah,
they
also
had,
there were like Mac 10s,
Mac 10s, and Tech
pistols,
9s,
yeah.
And you had a full buy. Like, there's no
full buy,
no excuses
direct
there.
B strategy, no utility baited out. So you had full utility belts, you had rifles, and you had information that they were coming, and they had a 3v1 somehow. Albeit 2 players low HP, but a 3v1 is a 3v. It's still 3 rifles that can shoot you in the head.
The more we talk about this, the more it upsets me, so I really want to move on.
And you know what else? They weren't even... No, I'm joking. So for ZIGMA at the moment, things are obviously taking an abysmal turn. They've lost their 3 rounds in a row, obviously, but 2 significant ones. That one there, they had pistols, the UMP, I'm not too worried. This is where they need to make a stop. Because TYLOO, they have not given... Yeah, just thinking, any respect. Any respect at all. They bought every single round. They just kept force buying up. They're like, oh, we're going to smash these noobs. Don't worry about it. Then they rushed B, but didn't really rush it. They kind of went B as their strategy on the force buy that would have left them on an eco. Like, they are not thinking at the moment. Genuinely. They're not sat there with their coach going, oh, what should we do? They're just feeling it. Summers just ran down short. Hasn't even looked at short. Did they have a flash? No. He just walked with his back turned because they don't care at the moment. Look at this. There's the flash, but a little bit too early on the peak. So Summer gets dropped. PB Overdose, though, traded out as Reality Jesus falls, and they had no control over Connector after that flash forced PB backwards.
Ooh, that sounds painful.
He went right back up the alley.
Oh, bombs down. They don't expect anyone on the ramp. Dan King turns around, but he doesn't get the dual one either. Just Cause has put them into a viable position, especially now it's left all onto somebody. Completely blind. Really nice retake. Much better round from ZIGMA. Sure, it was a little bit sketchy in the middle, but Just Cause doing some fantastic work, and from then onwards, we see some decent play out from them. So they get their 4th, of course, with the extra bomb plant. Money's still off the charts for TYLOO, and as we've sort of said, so far, it doesn't look like they've really... Well, they're not even playing basic Counter-Strike. They're just running in and trying to kill as many people as possible. And, yeah, a little bit of a mistake. I especially with 2 people watching in the same direction. Like, realistically, there should have been someone facing ramp, but it happens sometimes. 4-3. Now this needs to be the springboard for ZIGMA, because they can't afford to be broken straight back. Sure, their economy wouldn't be ridiculously bad, but be an uncomfortable spot once again. Dan King looking for the opener onto the B side. It's something he does quite regularly, which, in all honesty, it's not easy to do, that's for sure. And while we're going to have Bogdan's Law brought into play as somebody gets tagged very, very low in the early stages. I'm not actually sure where from.
Neither am I. But all that matters is the damage done. And for TYLOO... Excuse me. You're going to see a much slower round here, Tom. This is, I guess ZIGMA have garnered a little bit of respect from them. At last. Or they've just run out of places to rush quickly. Now they are taking this one much, much slower. Going out looking for a pick on A. They've got mid control as well, so the connector split. Now they're falling back over towards T spawn to get that rotate around. I presume somebody's just about to make that rotate as well. He's currently just watching the B apps for the push. Oh man, double openings in the corner though. PP hasn't been spotted and he springs up, taking the kills, but eventually he'll be dealt with. And with that, a 2v2, okay, not a bad kill by Just Cause. He's taking a lot of damage, and as soon as somebody catches the kill on middle, it is over. He saw him, right? He did see him. He definitely saw him.
Yeah. He's got 15 seconds. Like, somebody's the one that has to make the play here. Oh, no. Oh, it's uncomfortable, but he will win it out. There is some serious mistakes being made from TYLOO. Like, I'm going to be honest. I'm not even sure Summer's awake. Like, his teammate gets killed from Sandwich, and he just continues to just wander out. Just like, oh, well, where's this guy going to be? Like, look at the way he didn't even have his gun out when he initially walked out. Like, what was he doing? And then obviously there's these 1-by-1 peaks, but that's normal for TYLOO. Like, we expect that. But yeah, Summer, that's now twice where he's had like sort of really weird like walking out once just backwards into short, and then this round just like peeking basically without his gun out. Like it's just peculiar. And now they're back onto a force buy round. PP Overdose clearly gaining some confidence. Got to be careful that doesn't hand away a kill. Slowly just wide peeks out. He gets two. He gets two just sprinting at full pace round the corner. He's gonna get a third. How? No, no. How has he done that? That's ridiculous. That is ridiculous.
I think that I reckon with TYLOO what's happened is all their analysts that they've hired actually don't speak English or Chinese or anything. I reckon that
it just takes 4 1v1 duels.
There's a decent chance that their analysts only speak like Swahili or something. So
no, they speak solely in screaming. It's just sounds.
After being with TYLOO for a while. But I reckon that's it, right? They've hired analysts who only speak Swahili. And so they're coming in and saying, no, boys, listen, actually, if you just play like this, you'll maximize your chances of success in all these rounds. You know, you'll see like a 90% increase in closing out these easier games to weaker opponents without really having to struggle. You know, you'll get to dinner 2 hours early. It'll be great. And then they've all just stood there staring at them and went, should we push B? All right, rush B. I reckon that's what's happening. It's the only solution. I would say their coach doesn't speak, but I know he does and speaks English as well. So maybe he only speaks English. And none of them do. That must be what's going on. We figured it out.
Yeah. Maybe they just don't listen to him.
True.
I wouldn't be surprised. It seems like some of the time when they talk to each other, the players don't listen.
In games like this, though, it is worth giving the caveat that, like, if you're TYLOO, you have to put yourself in their head, just for the viewers at home, because obviously we're messing around saying they don't listen to their coach and analysts and all that. We're just joking, because TYLOO come into these tournaments and they really don't care. When it comes against a team like ZIGMA, they know that on individual skill alone, they can beat this team. They will lose some rounds by playing crazy, but at the end of the day, they're going to get their frag movie out of it, and that's all they're here for. And you would criticize it heavily if they didn't keep winning all their games. I mean, they're 6-0.
I think the other thing as well is, like, it's not really an excuse, but at the same time, it's the same with a lot of the teams at the top with burnout. I think that TYLOO, just rather than getting like completely burnt out, just try and have some fun in these matches. Yeah. Like the matches that they don't think they can lose. And in most cases, they are right. Like if you can solo run out A and kill 4 people, the chances are if you play properly, even for a moment, you would win 16-3. Like that's just how this would go. Like all they really need to do is just go, let's go A this round, lads, all together, throw the smokes, molotovs, after plant, easy. They would win every single round. Whereas they play it like this, they probably have a little bit more fun. And honestly, like it's crazy and it does give me a headache sometimes, but it is quite fun to watch at the same time, rather than like some of the games we've watched where it's been a 16-1, you just have nothing to say. I have never watched a TYLOO game where I have nothing to say. I always have something to say because they are ill. with some of the plays they make. But at the same time, it's both painful and enjoyable at the same time. I think that's why, for example, Blair is hooked on the drug that is Asian Counter-Strike. And that is because if you were talking about like the lower end of things, like maybe like a Paracetamol, like that's some of the base games you watch, or maybe if you watch Avicii, you watch a TYLOO, that's the class A stuff. That's the stuff that drives you insane, but at the same time, you can't get enough.
Well, we've got our Class A drugs on screen, and TYLOO, this round was another perfect example of what we were talking about, Tom. They did start to group up towards the end of it, but you look at the very beginning, they spread out, they take every kill, and it works. Right here, they have a... Okay, well, they left short open, first of all, and then that play by Peepee, I don't know what angle he actually had. Was he... Did he have a gap in the smoke? Oh, he was underpass. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Do you know what the most terrifying thing is? I could genuinely imagine, like, TYLOO watching art demos and going, that's how you do it. And just like, just the whole team play like that. Because obviously within Art's case, he's got a full system of a squad that plays around him. And that's why he can be insane. Whereas with TYLOO, that's not there. It's again, it's the same thing I said about like how some of the time in China, zebra crossings, like if you try and walk across zebra crossings, the cars just won't stop. So it's like they've taken that idea of a zebra crossing and then just not applied any of the actual meaning behind it. And that's what I think we're seeing with some of these mid rushes. It's like the Art's like, don't worry, I got a plan. I'll do this, you do this. And in this case, Dan King's going, run down mid. Good idea.
Is as well the fact that they do it versus the buy that they were against. It was just Eagles, right? Just pistols. And that's where they pull out that kind of strategy. But I think, again, it just reinforces the fact that TYLOO aren't necessarily thinking all too hard about what they're doing. They are just doing it. And this pug mode has already netted them a win in the half of 8 rounds. The swing by Dan King, a little slow to watch up top. But a good position by Peepee Overdose. A good fallback as well. You know, he immediately drops to Underwood, leaves him in a position now with a 2-man advantage that's secure, with Niffy almost dying, actually, on the fade back.
Oh, Peepee Overdose has got a little bit confused, a bit flustered. Attacker, not going to be able to win that duel, and now it's left all onto somebody. We saw him in this position before. Oh, he's got 2 kills back. He spotted the 3rd as well. Oh, it's a little bit of a whiff from him. I honestly expected that to be a bit more clean. But, you know, okay, he didn't win the 1v4. 8-6, ZIGMA. They're still very much within this map. That's the thing. The scoreline suggests they have a chance. I don't agree. But we'll see. We'll see how maybe they can win the second half pistol or get this last round, and then they are really in a good position. Obviously, still very, very loose stuff coming out from TYLOO. Slowly as well has just been incredible so far. He's got 17 kills. He's pleased that Tommy's about to wipe peek into the AWP again. I think he is.
Why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't he at this point? You know, it's the mantra of life, isn't it?
I don't know what it is, but it is funny.
This is going to be a pretty rough one for Rolex. He's got support there. At least Just Cause comes in and he's gone immediately. The rotates are on their way, but TYLOO already overwhelming the site with all one of them. As the others, or one more, waits up in the apartment. Somebody swings through, and of course he just wrecks Rolex. That looked like a run-and-one shot. Ooh. Reality Jesus in with 1, but Dan King's too quick over towards the door. Niffy, 1v3, looks to creep out of kitchen, but in the end, it's going to be him that's turned into the meal. TYLOO 9-6 as they eat up these rounds. And again, you have to consider it was only the first 3 rounds for ZIGMA that propped them up into a position where they look in any way respectable coming out of that first half. All in all, that was abysmal.
Oh yeah, they don't match up. I think that's what we're seeing. But we kind of knew that going into things. Like they don't. Like if you could send somebody alone into a site on B and he gets both kills and that's round over, and then a few rounds prior you have slowly run into open into the site, just the middle of the site, run towards connector and kill 4 people, you know that you don't match up. Like, realistically, it's got to be heartbreaking being on the ZIGMA side, because it just isn't. They don't stand a chance here. They've gone onto the T side. They're looking to put the pressure onto somebody. He's just fighting, just taking every duel. Kill him, please. Thank God he's finally dead, but it doesn't even matter. The pistol's over within a matter of seconds. Somebody bought enough time, and by bought time, I mean he fought them tooth and nail, fists out. Yeah, 10-6. Pistol not one. Force Spy is going to be invested into for the T side. This is such a bold play. He could have just sat in the corner and just like tried to wait for rotations, but he was like, what? That would be giving up frags to my teammate. Why would I want to do that?
Well, exactly. Sometimes you got to play for your own kills, you know? I respect it. That's what I do. I mean, I never get the kills, but I play for them. And that's trying is the important part. Attacker's tried. He's tried his best, but he's been wrecked by Rolex down in middle with Deagle, looking for more opportunities. Ian offered them, and they just keep on peeking.
Position.
Yeah, well, he's got support. That's the difference. The fact that slowly pushed short means it's not as silly that he's just crouched out in the middle of the open, but versus a Deagle, he's just headbutt that flash. Didn't even blind him. That's just fair play. Slowly's caught PP swinging wide, and Niffy's just waiting for death. This is 11 for TYLOO, a bomb plant for ZIGMA, but really, I have very little faith. You know, when we see a bomb plant for TYLOO, we're like, oh, here comes the force buy and maybe the round win. And for ZIGMA, it's like, well, there comes a slightly better buy into a loss. And it is ridiculous with how aggressive TYLOO are playing that they get away with so much.
Oh, slowly, 122 ADR with a 67% headshot. That's the sort of guy that you report in matchmaking, I'll be honest. Like, this guy's wrecking anyone that comes into his path, unless they're wide peeking with an orb. Now, the T's actually didn't force off of this. I would have expected them to buy, I'll be honest. Like, I think getting an extra round here would have been so beneficial. You would have ruined the money of TYLOO. I would have liked to see them risk it. Now, obviously, they're going to have more faith in their full buys, and it does end up being good practice when they do get the full buys in. But realistically, it leaves them with less rounds to play with, and they're going to bank heavily on the next round, unless they manage to steal this one. Niffy with a nice shot. Rolex retrieved the rifle, though he doesn't have any Kevlar, so just going to get wrecked the second he takes a single point of damage. Niffy will be able to retrieve it anyway, but they are being picked apart. One man standing, Niffy with the rifle. If anything, at this point, the Deke might be the better choice, and it's a wide peek out from somebody, of course it is. And is he going to get the gun? He's not. Okay, a little bit of extra cost, but realistically, it comes down to this, Mitch. If they lose this round, although we've already been pretty much speaking as if this game was over, if they lose this one, it definitely is.
It's like you can... We know that TYLOO should be winning, but it's like, it's pretty much confirmed, locked in.
I hate him so much.
That's some great sensitivity by Slowly. An ironic name.
Anybody questioned us saying that they weren't taking this very seriously, just watch that back a few times. Or, Flashbang's not bad, and actually, yeah, Slowly continues to peek into it, even while blind. Somebody around the edge of the smoke, though, is going to turn things back almost instantaneously, leaving 4v4 situation. Bomb retrieved, a peek coming out onto the ramp, and Summers a little bit further forward than you might expect. He was lurking around the edge of the boxes, but has opted to try and face into it, still continuing to do so. T's, however, after showing some initial presence towards A, pulled the rotation, and now somebody is the only B defender, and that's where they're actually going to be pushing.
Swinging in, looking for the kills, but finding nothing, at least for the start. Somebody, oh, he's fallen back. He's not committing to it by himself, but he's got a player coming down through short behind him. He's aware of this. Summer shuts it down.
Covered.
Reality eventually peaks it. I don't mind that. I think somebody played that relatively well. We're in a 3v2. Dan King picks up a kill in the solo fight, leaving Mr. Overdose all by himself as he looks to pull off what would be a sick clutch versus the best team in the region. They are spread out far and wide. They catch him, and it's the first fight that goes their way. You know, nothing special about that round for TYLOO. Everything they did was pretty much individual tools, but it just shows how capable they are as a team, that every single one of them went their way.
Well, that's the terrifying thing as well. Like, if the push was a little bit less disjointed from ZIGMA, I could see them winning that round. But the problem is this. Well, first peak, I'm betting on somebody all day. This peak as well, look where the other two players are. They were both still in the apartments. If they go at the same time, he is dead. He cannot look at both angles at the same time. But instead, the guy on short pushes, then the guys push over from the site. And even the flank was then null and void as well. And it just, that was a silly play. And either that means the player who was on short just tried to take initiative and go on his own, which that was just too risky. And if not, why was he not pushing with the player who was then lurking in from behind? Like, go together, have some support, at least have the opportunity for a trade. So, yeah, they give TYLOO the opportunity to fight individually, and I'm never going to bet on ZIGMA to win anything if that's what they're trying to play. Niffy, currently on 3 kills as well, is definitely not helping the situation. But let's be real, like, I think a lot of the kills that have come up for ZIGMA are either like a few in clutch situations or after the round are done, and then also rounds where it's just like someone blindly running around a corner. So I don't want to harp on them too much. As said, like, this is a game they're never expected to win. They got banged out by Vici with only 7 rounds total. They're doing a bit better here, but with the way that TYLOO are actually approaching this game, that is expected.
Pretty much. I think is this a tactical? I didn't actually catch it pop up, but I'm presuming it's tech. It's been a little while. Either way, I mean, the beauty of online Counter-Strike is every tech is a tech. I think ZIGMA are the ones that will benefit from it more so because I don't know if you want to disagree, Tom, but I don't feel like TYLOO are going to come out of this round with anything special when it comes to the structure department. If anything, I probably expect more aggression out of them. Because how I see TYLOO is they sit here during this pause, they're scratching, you know, they get the sweats, they're scratching their neck like, I want to push, I want to push, I want to shoot someone. And so whenever the pause ends, they're like, oh, finally, my chance. And they just run out and look for those kills. Whereas if it's round to round, you know, they don't get the withdrawal symptoms so much. Two players to window. We're going to see aggression definitely down through underpass is where they're going to start it. A little bit of control. Faked out with the Molotov from Dan King. With the full smokes in middle, somebody will be expected to be down here, or at least they'll be cautious of it. They do a lot of damage to him, and his fallback is going to be next to impossible, to be honest. He's got a player right up above him. And easy peasy.
I like the ambition. He doesn't need any help. He's a independent entity. Well, they've managed to find a second kill. Attacker waiting on the outside. Rolex needs to sort of be a bit careful here, and that those sort of plays are what can cost you rounds versus a team like TYLOO. The rotation's going to come back in. Summer not spotting anything out. Is actually going to go rotating into B. So it looks like they're going to gamble stack this, and, well, they've gambled wrong.
The incorrect play, unfortunately. But at least it gives ZIGMA a little bit of a chance. They do have to cross Summer, but the timings... Oh, it was in their court. He swings and he misses. That is going to be TYLOO down and out of this round. Their money dictates a save at this point. The question is, do TYLOO dictate a save? An attacker, well, he's found a kill. 2v3. The attacker took a lot of damage. It looks like, after much convincing, they have decided it's time to not go for a retake. They're going to play, wait for it, passive on this one. Do you reckon TYLOO before games just, like, pump up on testosterone? They play so aggressive. Is that allowed? I know in like cycling you can't. What is? I know you can't take Adderall, right?
Yeah, I'm fairly certain you can't.
I'm sure you can take vitamins. Can you take? I wonder where the line is. I never even looked into that. What
But
substances
didn't
are
they
allowed?
start testing people for stuff?
Yeah, it's
I don't
'cause
know if it'd be
certain-
worth the risk.
I think it will.
Also, I'm not sure. I'm not sure testosterone would be the best thing going into a Counter-Strike match. Just like, oh, I've smashed 14 mice this week. Just that's how he broke that desk. The guy from I know he broke the desk. He broke his hand, but
Too much testosterone before the match. Yeah, they had to start testing because some of the guys were on Adderall openly. Dan King.
oh, Dan King styling. Does he get away? He does.
He does. Of course he does. It's Dan
Actually,
King.
a face. Niffy lurking through the edge of the smoke might catch him off guard. He's actually watching the underpass. Oh no! Oh, it's been a bad day. He's 3-20. Oh god. Oh no! It's just gone from bad to worse. He's like, right. He doesn't know I'm here. This is my chance for the opener. Get the spray, and oh, I've missed, and I'm dead again. Oh dear. That's cause. He's not been as bad. About all I got, Mitch.
Yep. It's I mean, you're being very positive, Tom. I appreciate it. You could tell from the start of the day when you were being so happy about some of the other teams. Not about Destroyer though. Even though he won the game for them. You know, Invictus, I think their second map, he was the one that won the final round. And I just thought I could see you, you know, smiling and being proud.
That's the thing. Like, individually, he is not a bad player. It's his decision making which irritates me, because he gives away a lot of opening picks in rounds where they don't need them.
Mm-hmm.
So he is a frustrating player to watch. I don't doubt his individual skill. I don't doubt any player. It's the same with somebody. Like, somebody is fantastic individually. Makes some of the worst decisions I've ever seen in Counter-Strike. It's fact, but they can get away with it. And that's what's frustrating about it, if anything. This round, looking like more of the same. This has been an absolute slaughter for the side of ZIGMA. They came into Mirage. It was one of those maps, as said, that TYLOO haven't looked that great on. But when they're in form individually, there is very little you can do. And you need to be up there individually yourself. And unfortunately, that has not been the case for a few of the players. PP Overdose has not been bad in a few moments from Just Cause as well. Oh, a free kill at least for PP Overdose. But that's what I mean. Like, we talk about like statistics and individuals. Like, if you're being given kills like that, now that's a nice one though. However, the trades come back thick and fast, and somebody is going to close down anything. Dan King wanted those kills, clearly. But yeah, 15-7. I'm not really sure what ZIGMA can change. I don't think stop getting wrecked is much of a call.
You never know. It could be a revelation.
Hey, mate, can you stop getting wrecked? Niffy's just like, oh.
It's like, you know when you're...
Why didn't I think of that?
You know when you're holding a site and you're like, oh, they're coming B, they're coming B. And the comms you get are, don't die, don't die. It's like, bro, oh, okay. My bad. I was gonna die. So, okay, I'll make sure. Do you want me to ace the round as well while I'm at it? Okay, sure. No worries.
Get my gun out. Is that a good one?
Oh, shoot the head. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Like, I don't know, dude. People, the best thing as well when you lose sites and people's criticism is like, you need to hold it better or just something like that. Like some remark that is just serves no purpose. They're not giving you information on how you can be better. It's just be better. Like, okay. My bad. Yeah, 15-7. This game it's over and done with. Great stuff by Just Cause. That's a really nice opening. I mean, they should be able to close this round out at least, but it's going to be a while before I get excited, really, for ZIGMA's prospects.
He just doesn't care, does he? Not even slightly. That's actually wrecked their economy as well. And I love the fact that there's no way they could have spoken about this without even thinking somebody struck rag on AWP, guys. You do with that what you will. I'm going to go win us a round. And the fact is, they currently have a double AWP setup when half of their team don't even have a rifle. Or two of them don't even have SMGs. And yet, still think they're going to win this round.
Just anybody out there that's thinking, you know, we were just talking out our asses about TYLOO not caring and not really coming in, playing the game properly. Well, just look at that buy and then tell us, tell us that you think this is a top-level analyzed strategy. It's sheer confidence, not just because of the scoreline. I think this is something that if this was the first half, they would still have done in this exact situation.
I think they could be like, I don't know, 8-4 down, and I'd still expect to see this buy. I don't think it really is defined by, and it's just defined on how confident they are. Rolex, well, he's met AWP number 1. A little bit lucky to be alive, I would say. Now, an execution onto this A site should be enough to win them the round. Realistically, there should be nothing that anybody can do. Somebody was planning on playing Ninja, which, well, that was a call that he made. I can't say I agree with it in any way because he has an AWP. He's decided to fall back to a more passive position. The thing is, though, he almost needs to take fights here. He can't allow them to get too far. Missed shot into the first. That could be an opening. Rotation coming in. He's trying to fall back to the corner, and he will manage to do so. Any peek from Palace should be a free kill. Instead, though, it's Attacker trying to spray them down with the MP9. The Pistol of Summer gets nothing done. What are you doing? What are you doing? I cannot believe that is a decision that he's just made. That is one of the stupidest plays I've ever seen.